Good morning. Convening the Staff Hearing Officer meeting of October 30th, 2024. We will begin with preliminary matters. Ms. Gu, do we have any requests for continuances, withdrawals, postponements, or addition of X-agenda items?
No, we do not for this particular meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Any announcements or appeals? I have none.
No announcements or appeals.
Thank you. And comments from members of the public pertaining to items not on the agenda today?
I have not received any public comment. If there's anyone in the room, please bring me a slip. Otherwise, I don't have any hands raised on Zoom or any public comment received in written.
Very good. We'll proceed to item number 2, which is 311 West Montecito Street. This is application for a coastal development permit for 3 new 3-bedroom units and a 2-bedroom accessory dwelling unit. Our planner is Pilar Plummer, and she's just getting ready. Be just a moment. Thank you. And Ms. Gu, if you could switch over to Ms. Plummer's computer, please. And Ms. Plummer, welcome.
Thank you. Pilar Plummer, Associate Planner with the City of Santa Barbara Planning and Zoning Division, and I'll be giving the staff presentation for this project. Just to start off with just a street view of the project site. This is 311 West Montecito Street, again located on West Montecito Street, so you can just see the context of the neighborhood. Here, the existing site is developed with a short-term vacation rental, and the project proposed is to demolish that short-term rental and construct a new residential development comprised of 3 3-bedroom residential units in a singular apartment building. Additionally, an accessory dwelling unit that will be part of that building. So going to the plans, let's do that. Site plan here. So as I said, you can see it is one singular building. The project does require a coastal development permit because the project site is located in the non-appealable jurisdiction of the coastal zone. And will involve a change of use, again, from a commercial short-term rental to residential units. I also want to note this is in the West Beach component area, which predominantly does have hotel and visitor serving uses, but as well there is very little vacant area in this component. And one of the items that's noted as appropriate is to encourage more high-density residential units in this area. The project would be entering from, again, West Montecito Street. You can see that there's a path going into the development. Each of the units does have their required private open yard per unit. And additionally, I do want to note that the accessory dwelling unit, while not required to have private open yard, does contain that. So we're looking at the floor plans here. Unit A and Unit B are both on the ground floor. You'll note as well there is a bike storage room. I think something important to know as part of the coastal development permit, we do have policies related to parking. This particular project site is in the overlay area of AB 2097, so they're not required to provide any vehicle parking for the development. To offset this and to work with the policy related to parking, they are proposing more than the required amount of bicycle parking for the development. They're proposing 12 spaces in this bike storage room. And again, that works quite nicely because, again, this is 3-bedroom units, so it can accommodate bicycle parking for the different bedrooms. You'll see there's a private patio for Unit A, and Unit B's is actually accessed off the back of that unit. And if you go upstairs, there's Unit C, which again is another 3-bedroom unit with a balcony area here, and Unit D, which is the accessory dwelling unit, which actually has a pretty sizable balcony for that unit. They also are noting on the roof, you can just see here, right, low slope parapet, all of that. Going to the elevations, the project site is, again, in the West Beach area. We do see predominantly Spanish, colonial revival, Mediterranean style buildings in that area. The project was reviewed by the Architectural Board of Review recently, and they were supportive of the design. I do think it's important to note a similar type building was proposed on this site as a hotel, and actually did go before the show last year. And that was going to be a hotel building, was substantially similar in design to what's presented here. Noting, right, that this is a residential development and has patios and elements like that that are appropriate for the type of development. But they were supportive of both. It is a 2-story building, and there's a mixture of 1- and 2-story buildings in the area. It's consistent with allowed height for this area, and overall they were supportive of the design. So staff's recommendation for this project is to approve the coastal development permit. Included an analysis in the staff report as to the consistency with the Coastal Act and Coastal Land Use Plan. It's appropriate for this location within the city. It does provide higher density housing, which is consistent with the land use plan as part of the Coastal Land Use Plan. And then as well, they are, as I said, providing more than the required amount of bicycle parking to offset the lack of vehicle parking for the site. So with that, that concludes my presentation. I also noted in the staff report that the project does qualify for a categorical exemption based on the type of development, which allows for new residential units to be developed in an urban area. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Ms. Plummer. I see Mr. Lonnie Roy in attendance. If you'd like to come up and introduce yourself. And if you could, I'm curious of the thinking and motivation behind switching from a hotel project to a residential project right here. If you could speak to that a bit, and anything else you'd like to add to the presentation. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Lonnie Roy. I am the agent for the property owner. Speaking directly to that question, it was more economics. There was kind of a hotel boom coming out of COVID, and that has really softened quite a bit. And the owners just kind of shifting their portfolio, no longer looking to pursue hotels as much as they previously were. So it made sense to switch this to residential, considering that the neighborhood is very livable. It's a great location for residents of the community, both from a recreational standpoint, in addition to kind of the amenities that are around there, transit station, restaurants, grocery stores, things like that. Also, the campus being pretty close and being also very bikeable to downtown, the main employment center. Just a few items to add to the great presentation that was already done. In the bike storage room, there are a mix of 2 different racks. There's a high density rack that's a 2-tier, and then there's the traditional U-style racks. Working with staff, the idea of the standard racks is we are going to provide some outlets there. So essentially for, kind of larger electric type bikes could be accommodated in there, which would also increase kind of being able to live here without a vehicle. That was really the main point. I think everything else was covered. We kind of tried to increase the outdoor livability of all of these units. Some of the side yard and rear yard areas for the previously proposed hotel project weren't able to be used due to different zoning standards. So pretty much most of the site area is potentially usable for kind of an indoor-outdoor kind of livability. So in the westerly side yard area, The bedrooms do have access into kind of a side yard patio area to kind of increase that. The rear unit has a large patio here with, in addition, some open space there that provides some vegetative grass recreational opportunities. The common courtyard with a fountain. The front unit has their private patio, which the height of the wall does allow some visibility onto the street, so it will provide some of that activation. It's not a completely walled off project. And then likewise, as was mentioned, the ADU actually has one of the largest balconies, and then the front unit has a smaller balcony kind of inset into that westerly side yard area. Noting 2 items from ABR's comments from the September 3rd hearing. There were kind of very few comments, or about 4. 2 of them that requested changes. One of them was kind of restudying the mechanical equipment locations. So we do intend to relocate this mechanical equipment over to here, so it's outside of their private patio area. Another comment that unfortunately we won't be able to provide was the backflow prevention devices. Trying to find an alternative location for them. Unfortunately, they need to be located outside of the setback area, and because the building's pretty much filling up that envelope, it's not feasible to locate them elsewhere. But we believe with the entry gate being a solid wood gate, it won't provide any visual impediments to the project since they'll be fully screened. There'll also be landscaping around them inside the project. And that pretty much concludes any additions. I think everything else was covered pretty thoroughly.
Very good, thank you. And as Ms. Plummer mentioned, there's no parking required. So this is a newish state law. There would have normally been 6 to 8 parking spaces required for this with the current zoning. But due to the proximity to the rail station, none are required for residential currently. So this is closing the curb cut, which is great. So there's more space available for other things. It looked when I went on the site visit that there may be room for another tree. Is that something that you've explored with the city arborist at this point? And is that something that you'd be open to?
We haven't explored that, but that's definitely something we're open to.
Very good. That would be under the jurisdiction of the Architectural Board of Review, so that's something that they could look at. The current curbs are sandstone. That's hard to do now. I think we typically ask for faux sandstone in this situation. So that's something that design review would look at as well. I did want to ask Ms. Plummer about residential permit parking, if you could speak to it. So this neighborhood is unique in that there's residential permit parking, there's hotel permit parking, and it is a parking constrained area. And with AB 2097, it's kind of throwing off the balance a bit. And just asking about the city's current approach to that.
Thank you, Mr. Gullett. So in review with Transportation Division, they did look at this site and whether it would be appropriate for the residential parking program. Downtown parking is relooking at that just in general, but in our review with Transportation, they did not find that this particular project site would be appropriate currently for the residential parking program, so they weren't recommending that for this.
Okay, thank you. That concludes my questions at this point. Ms. Gu, do we have any public comment on this project, either in person or remote?
Actually, we did not receive any public comment, whether email or phone call or anything like that. I'm checking on Zoom and we don't have any raised hands. If anyone in the room would like to submit a speaker slip, I'm open to that too. Seeing no one in the audience, I don't think that we have any public comment on this one at this time.
Okay, thank you. And thank you to staff and the applicant. I do appreciate the investment in this neighborhood, the production of residential units, the use of state law that makes this easier to do. I concur with staff's findings in the staff report for environmental review. The CEQA exemption under section 15303 of the CEQA guidelines. I also agree with the coastal development permit findings that the project is consistent with policies of the California Coastal Act and the local coastal plan. And I approve this project subject to conditions of approval outlined in Exhibit A. And Ms. Go, if you could put up the other PowerPoint. Slow scrolling. So this decision is appealable to the Planning Commission. For information on that, please contact planning staff at the number on the screen. Appeals may be filed in person at 630 Garden Street or by email. They would need to be filed within 10 calendar days of this action. And with that, I close the item and adjourn the meeting. Thank you.